Hi everybody, this is Jane from Willow Blue Vintage, and today I'm going to be showing you my latest journal that I've made for the design team for the Graphics Fairy. So as you can see, it's kind of got a lot of ephemera on the cover. These are some prints that I found on the free part of the Graphics Fairy site. I think I searched for blank labels. I got this gorgeous little bee one and this kind of Victorian looking one there, and then I've put various bits of ephemera, bit of an old postcard there, an old tea card, and some leaves and dried flowers. On the back, lots of other bits of ephemera, and that's from the Katharina Klein Birds bundle. So what's different about this journal is that I've made it entirely from envelopes. So it's got a simple card cover with eyelets and some old string as the closure. And then when you open it up, you see that all of the pages are actually envelopes. So the structure of it, I made two signatures. If I open one flat, you can see that the envelopes are joined together with some tissue and then stitched in place. And all of them face the same way, so that the front of each envelope becomes a journaling page, and then you can open each one up like a tuck spot and have journaling cards and other bits of ephemera inside. So starting at the beginning, this tuck spot here was a copy of an old photograph that I've got of this lady tending to her garden. I painted over it, painted onto her as well, and then added some dried flowers and leaves, and these as if they're coming out of the plant pots that were actually in the photograph. And got a tuck spot here, an old postcard, photograph, and I printed out absolutely loads of small pieces of ephemera from the premium site. So mini French ephemera, French papery, mini ephemera, French Attic ephemera, lots of them. I've put on the write-up for this journal which bundles I used, so they just slot in there. This here is a print that I did onto some glassine paper. It's from the herbal apothecary shop, and I printed a few of those onto glassine paper so that it's sort of semi-transparent. Okay, so the first envelope, this one was from the Script Ephemera 2 bundle. It's a print that I often use, and so I just printed it out to normal full sheet size, and I got a couple of templates, or a few templates, for envelopes. So if you look on the printables section and just put envelope into the search bar, you'll see lots of different envelopes. I got a few of those and just used those as templates to cut out envelopes in all different sort of shapes and sizes to make this book. So as I say, this one was from the Script Ephemera 2. I've added on bits of, there's a leaf, bits of ephemera, and used some patterned rice paper to stick it into the book. That's one of the Katharina Klein birds. One of the printables on that is this gorgeous sheet of postage stamps. So I printed those onto a slightly older sort of looking paper. It's slightly sandy coloured, which toned it down a little bit, and I've scattered those throughout the journal. There's a dried flower there as well, and then just all different bits of ephemera here. This was one of the pieces of ephemera that I printed. I think it was the French ephemera. Bits of rice paper and an old tea card. What I really like about this is that you've got so many tuck spots, so many places to store things. This is an original page from an antique encyclopedia. Stuck a dried fern on, and I really love these little labels. So these were from, it's a printable sheet from the Lepidopterist bundle. I printed it out at about half size, and then I've used those in various places and just written on, in this case, fern. And this little card was from the Sewing Ephemera bundle. I've just used it as a sort of little wallet. There's a bit of one of those prints from the Herbal Apothecary bundle, and a photograph. On the free part of the Graphics Fairy website, if you put photograph into the search bar, you'll get all sorts. This was called, I think it's called Mothers with Children, and there's a few photos, and I printed those out onto photograph paper, and another bit of ephemera from one of the bundles there. This was an envelope I made from glassine paper. I obviously like the semi-transparent nature that you can see inside, an original stamp, a leaf and a bit of drawing. And in here, another bit of ephemera that I printed out, and another of the photographs that I printed out. Again, I've painted onto it and put a daisy onto it. I love that one. So Daisy slots in there and you can still see her. And this is a paper that I've used quite a few times. This was from the Bibliophile bundle. Really lovely print. Again, I've put some bits and bobs. That was from one of the Graphics Fairy images as well, but it was just a scrap in my drawer, so I can't remember what it was called. And I lined the inside of that with some old tissue paper just to make it a little bit more aged. This library card, I think, was also from the Bibliophile. No, that was from the Blank Paper Ephemera bundle. Really nice. I've done a bit of gesso onto it, put some old script on, some dried leaves, one of those labels, and some other bits, and an old linen button that I've stitched on there. Envelope I made out of some old graph paper, again with some leaves and some old script stuck on. Another little bit of ephemera that I printed out, put a hydrangea on, some stamps. This envelope was a scan of one of my journal pages with birds on it. And this beautiful old playing card that, again, I've just sort of stuck various bits on, a stamp, some silk, a dried flower. So that just attaches to the front. And then inside, I've got a tag. That was also from the Blank Paper Ephemera bundle. Again, a bit of ledger paper, a bit of silk, another old tea card that I've attached on there. And that's one of the stamps, again, from that Katharina Klein Birds bundle. This envelope, it's a print of a sort of stormy sky. That was from the Aeronautical Adventure bundle. Again, I've put lots of collage onto it. Another of those wedding photos that I've painted, put lots of dried flowers. Another of the Lepidopterist labels there. Another Katharina Klein bird. And inside, another image that I found on the free site that I printed onto photograph paper, painted, put dried flowers on, stamp, stitch. This is another scan from one of my own artworks, the envelope. Again, bits of ephemera stuck on. This is a paper I use a lot. It's from the Delicate End Papers bundle. I don't think I've ever actually done a journal where I haven't used that page. And another gorgeous photo from the free site that I printed out and painted and put a stamp onto. And then the little sort of tab there is an old tea card, again with some dried flowers stuck to it. Another Graphics Fairy paper there, made one of these long envelopes this time, and ephemera, some drawings, stamps, dried flowers. That's another sort of little ticket from one of the ephemera bundles. don't think there's anything, no, nothing in that one. Envelope made from an old encyclopedia page. Another of the photos from the free site, some dried flowers, scraps of graphics fairy papers, another label, some rice paper. Another with the tags that I printed from one of the ephemera bundles, the bit of old wallpaper, another Katharina Klein bird stamp. And so this is the centre, and I put a piece of sari silk around the middle and then stuck it down onto the spine, and that just sort of holds all of the signatures in place nicely. This was another one made from a scan of some of my journal pages with a business card. I think that was probably from the mini French ephemera bundle. Again, some old script, ferns, and this is a piece of handmade paper with flower petals in it. The Katharina Klein bird there, and an envelope that I made from some rice paper. You can see it's got this sort of flower, it's sort of holy and it's got flowers in it, and I've lined it with other paper. And a little button card that I printed out from the sewing ephemera and put a couple of these old linen buttons onto it. Another glassine envelope, again with bits of ephemera, leaves, and that's half a postcard, so the other half went on the front of the journal. This is the other half of the postcard. Another of those herbal apothecary shop prints. When it's printed on glassine, you don't get the same sort of sharpness, but I like the fact that it actually looks kind of hand painted, and some stamps. I really like these glassine envelopes. Nice and crunchy, and you can see through them. Envelope again made from a scan of one of my journal pages, and this cute little dog was from the Aeronautical Adventure bundle. Again, bits of ephemera, ticket there, which I think was probably from the mini French bundle, a label there, and inside photograph again from the free site, Exposition de Liège, another ephemera, a piece that I printed out from the Graphics Fairy, stuck a flower and one of the labels on. This page here is from one of the script ephemera bundles, again ephemera put onto it, and I think that's probably also from the French mini ephemera. Another bird stamp, some original ephemera there, an old receipt. Another of the free site photographs, again my favourite paper. And a business card, an old photograph, that's an original photograph. Another scan from one of my journal pages, and I've got in there some old stamps, bits of tissue ephemera, another stamp and another bird page. And on here I've got another of those business cards printed out, rose leaves, stamps, one of the apothecary prints underneath, and a photograph in there. Oh, sorry, postcard, very faded. This is one of my favourites. So again, one of the photographs that I printed on photograph paper, painted, put this 4-leaf clover where her bouquet would be, like a sort of good luck symbol. Some original script there. And inside, oh, this is another of my favourites, a nun photo that I found on the free site. Stamp, bit of ephemera, another bird. So they took away inside there. Another old postcard of the Parliament building in Edinburgh, Scotland. envelope made from an encyclopedia page. That was a scrap of paper. I can't remember which bundle that's from. It was just in my scrap drawer. And a tea card and some dried leaves. Inside, another of those little bird stamps. And this is another favourite, this kind of mottled, distressed paper. That was from the Blank Papers and Parchments bundle. And birds on the front, various bits of ephemera and old stamps. And then inside, can't remember what I put inside. Oh, this is a piece of handmade paper with lunaria seeds in it, and an old photograph. That's another of the printables from the Katharina Klein birds. And the final envelope is covered with all sorts of ephemera. Another of the photos from the free site, some dried petals, a tea card, label, little tab on the back there, and another piece of the ephemera that I printed out, which I've aged with distress inks. And finally the inside cover, again lots of different ephemera layered on there, one of those photos, and we're back to the end. So I hope you enjoyed a flick through of that journal. It's certainly a structure that I'll use again. I really like being able to journal on the front and have so much stuff slotted in there, and as it gets fuller you're going to get a really nice big chunky journal. So thanks for looking. I hope you enjoyed watching it.